I'm wearing color. Isn't that crazy? I know. It's rare. It's very rare. But I actually did my makeup and I dressed up as Maxine from the movie X. Have you seen it? It's a horror movie. And I attempted, this isn't the makeup that I did. I just added like red lipstick and lashes and brows for this video, but I tried doing her look. I might post it on my Instagram, I'm not sure yet. It was pretty fun to do. I think I did a decent job, I don't know. I'll let you be the judge of that. I think I'm gonna be dressing up as some more characters, I'm not sure yet. Maxine was kind of an obscure one. I don't know if many people will know who she is or what she's from, but that's okay. I just really wanted to dress up as her for some reason. I don't know. Without further ado, the first story is called Black Figure Crawling Towards Me. I don't like that. I don't like the title. I have been living in my house now for a little over 3 months. From the day me and my husband moved in, I would always see a black shadow out of the corner of my eye. I was 7 months pregnant when we moved in, and I was super eager to set up the nursery. Well, as soon as the crib and everything was in the nursery, I would always see the black figure entering the nursery. And I always knew that black shadows are mostly never a good entity, so I ignored it and always acted like I didn't see anything. I don't know if I could do that. And sure as shit, my baby is not sleeping in that room. What the fuck? My husband is also not the type of person who believes in the paranormal, so I just always kept things to myself. Things didn't get bad until I gave birth to my son. Now whatever it is mimics his cries, and my husband, who never believed, is also starting to hear it. We both just ignore it, but we always share a look. But tonight was the first time where I could not ignore it. I've been struggling with postpartum depression, and I decided to just take a nice relaxing shower while my husband and son were both asleep. The whole time I was in the shower, I felt like eyes were on me. When I got out, I felt better and decided to wash some bottles. As I'm washing bottles, I felt something behind me touch my back. I just assumed that it was my husband, but then I saw something black on the ground crawling towards me. Nope. I immediately jumped back, and it was gone. I ran into our bedroom and woke my husband up, freaking out. He told me it was probably just from my lack of sleep and go to bed. Thanks a lot. But I know what I saw, and now I'm definitely not sleeping tonight. Ew. The next story is called My Daughter's Friend. Before I met my now boyfriend, it was just my daughter and me when we lived on our own in an apartment complex. She wasn't even 2 years old yet. I will have plenty of stories about this complex and other stories, but there's one I'm focusing on right now. My daughter came into the imaginary friend stage. At first it was cute. I would walk into her room and she would be playing with her dolls, talking to herself, her friend, and keeping herself busy while I did my best to keep the apartment clean and make food. Slowly over time, my daughter got freaked out by her bedroom, so much so that she would not step foot into her room, even for toys. There was a week period we didn't enter her room. She still had toys in the living room to play with. Slept in my room, and I had done laundry previously, and she wore those clothes instead. We had to call her father over to ease her fears. My own dad even came over a handful of times. This started the check under my bed for monsters and in the closet too. After a while, she started to sleep in her room again. She could no longer sleep with her door closed, light off, or without noise. I put a small TV in her room for her to watch her Barbie movies at night to help her sleep. Still, she would end up in my room in the middle of the night. She had nightmares often, so she didn't like to sleep. One day, I'm sitting writing out a grocery list to go shopping. I could hear a little girl giggling, but our window was was open, so I dismissed it. My daughter came up to me asking if I wanted her purple Hugs Barrel juice. I said, no thank you, sweetie. She asked why not. I said, purple just isn't the color I like, it's all yours. She asked what color I did like, and I said, I like the blue one. She went over to the pantry to get a juice, and she started talking. I was half listening when she loudly said, my mom likes blue, not bleach, and came out shaking her head, looking angry. I asked her what she said, and her face fell. She shrugged her shoulders and said, I don't know, and ran off to play. I went into my pantry, half knowing what I would see. Top shelf in the back where my daughter couldn't see was a gallon of bleach that I was going to use to make a tie-dye shirt. I bought it over a month ago. That's creepy AF. The next one is called What's Happening at My Father's House. I live in the state of Ohio and have for the full 30 years I've been on this planet. My parents split when I was young and my mom moved to another house, but my father stayed in the house I grew up in, where he remains to this day. My pop is 70 years old and has yet to retire, so that big house of his remains empty. Remains an empty shell 50% of the time unless me or any of my other 3 siblings drops by to check on things or just visit. I happen to be the youngest of all the siblings, and I also have been much closer to my father than everyone else. He is a very old school Italian who likes cigars and doing things his way, so I just like to be around just in case he hurts himself doing upkeep or yard work, and we will typically sit on the back patio and smoke a cigar and just shoot the shit. Last week, while on the way home to my apartment, I received a call from my father around 7:30 p.m., which isn't out of the ordinary, but it's what he said that scared me. I'm just sitting on the couch, why do you need me to come downstairs? I asked what he was talking about, and he said, you keep yelling for me to come down to the basement, but I don't want to get up if I don't need to. I told him that I haven't been to the house at all that day, but was in fact 30 minutes away during the time he called me. I could hear him go from normal to something's off when he told me, I know all my children's voices, and this was you yelling up at me clear as day. I decided to then drop by the house instead of going to my apartment, and we walked through the whole place. And he was telling me, I know I'm 70, but I wasn't just an old man hearing things that aren't there, which I believed wasn't the case either, and assured him of that. So I left after clearing the entire property inside and out, and had no more incidents for a few more days. My father calls me around 5 p.m. the following Saturday and asked if I could go to the house and turn on the sprinklers since he got stuck at work. So I obliged and went to the house. When you turn the sprinklers on at the house, you have to manually hit a switch for each section to turn on once one finishes. So I plop my ass down on the sofa in between the sprinkler sections and watch a little TV. I've been on the sofa for a total of 45 minutes when I hear a voice vibrating the air vents and coming from the basement's entertainment area. Unsure who or what was being said. I sat up and muted the TV before something else was said so I could hear it, and I definitely heard my mother's voice, clear as day, come from the basement and kept saying the same basic phrase, "Can you come down here?" Reworded every time, but always with the same goal, which was for me to come downstairs. My parents have been divorced since 2006. It wasn't a nice divorce. It was long and drawn out, and my mother hasn't spoken to my father since then. I can guarantee you that my mom hasn't stepped foot inside that house since 2006 either. What in the actual fuck is going on? I didn't go downstairs when the voice was asking me to. A feeling of horrible dread came over me and left the house and locked up. I just sat in the driveway waiting for my father to get home so I could share with him what just occurred, and tried to get him not to go inside the house for the night, but I wasn't successful in that, and he just said fuck it to whatever is happening, and is insistent on ignoring it if it happens again. Wow. Brave man. I don't know if I could do the same. The also always talked about how her house was haunted and all the weird things that happened. I wanted to believe her, but some of it just seemed so far-fetched that I didn't take the story seriously. To start the night off, we were going to watch Children of the Corn 5 in the basement family room. The way the basement was set up is immediately when you walk down the stairs, there was a bathroom/laundry room to the left, the gun room to the right, directly across from the bathroom. Next to the gun room was the crafts room, and then it opened up into a small family room. The TV was on the short wall of the room, so when you were sitting on the L-shaped couch, you could look down that short hallway and see into the craft room and gun room. I remember when we first walked down the basement stairs, I just did not like the way the basement felt, specifically the doorway to the gun room. It just felt off-putting and kind of dark, and I just really didn't even want to look into the gun room. Now, I don't like guns, they freak me out and have always made me uncomfortable, so I just figured this is why I felt that way. We all sat down, shut off the lights, and started the movie. I was in the corner of the couch with my friend Roger to my left and then Donna on my right. It was her house, and her cousin Kendra next to her. Halfway through the movie, I needed to use the bathroom, so I got up and started walking towards the bathroom. I was a little freaked out, but at that time, I wasn't really into horror movies, so I figured it was that. I go into the bathroom, close the door, and do my thing. When I was done, I remembered having the thought, do not look into the gun room. I just had a really bad feeling, and I just did not want to open that bathroom door. I was afraid of what was on the other side. I eventually talked myself into opening the door because all my friends were in the basement and nothing was out there. I opened the door and specifically put my head down and started at the floor, so I didn't even have a chance to look in the gun room and walked back to the couch. I sat back down in my spot on the couch and continued watching the movie. At some point, I realized I was no longer watching the movie. Instead, I realized I'd been staring down the hallway at a large, blacker than black outline of a man wearing a tall hat, standing in the gun room's doorway. I could tell it had been standing there, staring at us for a long time. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. I didn't know what to do, so I said out loud quietly, "Roger, do you see?" And he responded, "That black shadow figure in the doorway." And then Donna and Kendra both responded, "Yes." Donna then said, "I have been staring at it for a little while now." The instant we all said this, the rest of the group all jumped up and turned on the lights and thought we were messing with them. A few of them went into the gun room and were making up theories, and others were convinced we were just making it up. Needless to say, I never went into that basement again. The next one is called Possible Entity in Nursery, another nursery one. Okay, so background, I live in a house that I love. I moved around a lot as a kid, and this was the house I lived in high school. Just me and my mom and no one else. It was so nice. After high school, I moved away, and my mom had moved in with her soon-to-be husband and started renting this house. In 2020, her renters left, and she couldn't find a renter in the pandemic, and my lease where I lived was almost up, so moved in. Excited to be back in my favorite house. Nothing weird has happened here, nothing ever did until about 3 weeks ago. Leading up to this point, here's the story. In July 2023, I had a daughter. Her dad died while I was pregnant. That's terrible. He died in March. Nothing weird happened after he died. My mom and I set up her nursery and got a mobile for it. It is not electronic. It's just felt flowers and bees with some jingle bells attached. These jingle bells do not jingle easily. You pretty much have to grab the pole the mobile is attached to and shake it to make the jingle bells jingle loudly. From May, when I put it up, to September, it never made a noise outside of when I wanted it to. But 3 weeks ago, me and my daughter are sleeping. We sleep in the living room. It's just the easiest for her nightly schedule still, as she is only 3 months. And the jingle bells started jingling. Know that they would have to be shaking like crazy for me to hear them 50 feet away in the living room. And it just happens once, so I don't think think much of it, but since then it's been happening more and more and getting louder and waking me up, and I just get this terrible feeling. So many people say, oh, it's her daddy, but I truly don't believe it was him. He was my best friend, and I think I would know if it was him. This only happens at night, and I've tried to look at the monitor when it is happening, but the mobile never seems to be moving. I've had people go in there and shake it during the day just to assure myself that's what I'm hearing, and it definitely is. I feel terrified, and I just want to take back my space. A couple close friends have also felt weird, like there's a difference in the house. I'm not a big paranormal person outside of liking Stephen King novels, lol. So please don't make fun of me. I'm already nervous to post this. I'm not making fun of you, I believe you. Shoot, girl. The last story of the evening is called Paranormal Train Ride. A while ago now, my partner, we'll call them Jace, our friend, we'll call them Mike, and I were in Bristol, UK for a protest. Once the protest had ended, we spent some time chatting in a park and then went to get some hot chocolate. Before we knew it, it was getting late and we had to wait for the last train back to Bath, where my partner was living at the time. We were sitting outside the train station when my partner's mood seemed to change. They looked worried. Are you both okay? They asked. I looked at Mike confused. We're okay, are you? We both responded, I feel like someone is in danger, they replied. It was time to catch our train, so we started making our way down to the platform. The station was eerily quiet. There were no people to be seen, not even staff. The last train arrived on the platform and we got on. We sat silently looking out the window as the train began to move. I felt sick. Something wasn't right. The train journey only takes about 20 minutes, but it felt like it was taking hours. We seemed to be the only ones on the train and it was pitch black outside. We didn't talk, we barely even looked at each other. There was only one stop between Bristol and Bath, Keynsham. I don't know if I'm saying that right, sorry. After what seemed like hours, we arrived at what should have been the Keynsham train station, only it wasn't. There were less lights than I remembered, and the stairs were different. They were on the wrong side and seemed to go on forever. The trees looked distorted and strange. I looked over at Jace. I don't know how to describe it, but I really expected them to say that this wasn't Keynsham. I had only ever passed it on the train and thought I must be mistaken, but I knew that Jace would know. Eventually we arrived in Bath, and we couldn't get off that train fast enough. The way back to Jace's flat was along a small path that went beside the train tracks. As we began to walk, Jace looked at us again and asked, "How did you two find that train ride?" We both looked at each other and in unison said, "Weird." I noticed as I was walking that I purposefully wasn't looking at the tracks. I turned to look at them and immediately felt sick and terrified, as if they were going to engulf me into the darkness. As we walked, we started talking about the experience and all agreed that whatever it was, it had something to do with the tracks. I knew it was coming, but it still made my heart wrench when Jace added, "Oh, and that wasn't Keynsham." We kept walking until we came to a bridge that crossed over the train tracks. It seemed to be looming ominously over them. We started to walk down away from the bridge, and you could feel it in the air. The hairs on the back of my neck were standing on end, and I wouldn't walk fast enough. "It feels like something is following us," said Mike, and they were right, it did. We kept walking and walking faster and faster. Something sinister was following us. I couldn't bring myself to look behind me. Finally, we arrived at the flat and hurried in, making sure to lock the door behind us. All we could do was talk about it and try to comfort each other. Jace told us that they thought they had seen a figure standing on the train tracks as we pulled out of Bristol. The same figure that Mike saw standing on the bridge. None of us slept for a long time that night. I felt safe inside the flat, but anytime I looked out at a door or window, like something was waiting out there. The next day felt normal again, and we were ready to do some Googling. We weren't ready for what we discovered. A quick Google search revealed that a person had died on those exact tracks, just a small distance down the line, at the exact same time my partner had started to feel strange the night before. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. I feel like if I keep the videos a little bit shorter, I'll be able to get more out, like more frequently. It's when I make super long videos. They take forever to upload to my computer. They take for freaking ever to edit. Okay, the editing process is not a quick one. It takes a lot of time. So I feel like I'm not gonna make super short videos, but shorter than like 40 minutes to an hour. So like in the 20 to 30 minute range. I feel like that's more doable for me and everything that's going on. So yeah, I hope you guys don't mind if the videos are a little bit shorter, but that just makes things easier and it makes me want to keep the momentum going and keep putting videos out more frequently. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing great. Please like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out. And I appreciate every single one of you and all of your support. It means so much to me. You have no freaking idea. I know I always say this, but you guys truly